This is one of the most important lessons in the science of getting rich. It's the second chapter, and in the workbook we have all the laws in it. So if you want to study the laws a little bit, this is the place to do it. Now let's see here on this first page of chapter number 2 that says there is a science to getting rich. You know, the average person doesn't believe that. They believe that getting rich comes down to luck, connections, or birthright. It's something genetic, it's passed down. They hear people talk about generational wealth. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You could start today, and in 5 years or less, you could create a great deal of wealth. Making money is really a game. Yes, it's a game, and there are rules to the game. Now, when we talk about science, we talk about laws. The laws are the rules. They are the name of the game. And that is something you really want to understand. There is a science to getting rich. It is an exact science like algebra or arithmetic. Now you know that science is based on numbers and vibrations. It's based on numbers. We're in vibration. We're in law. There are certain laws that govern the process of acquiring wealth. Now, when we get into this, you'll find that we're quoting Emerson. Emerson talked about the law of laws, and that was the law of cause and effect. Now, that law states that what you put out comes back to you. You'll find people trying to cut corners, trying to be smarter. You know what happens? They end up being outdone. They're playing a game with themselves. They're playing with the mirror. And in reality, they don't understand that once you learn and obey these laws, you automatically become a member of that select group of people who live the secret and become rich with mathematical certainty. Now look, this is the book on which the movie The Secret was based. Rhonda Byrne put everything she had in it, everything, and she will reap the rich rewards for the rest of her life. 500 million people saw that movie. Now comes another movie you should watch out for. It's called Rising Up. It's going to be as big as, I believe it was The Secret, and you'll find it's quite powerful. But anyway, we're talking about the laws here. Now there is a great law, a single great law. Energy is, if you go to the scientist and ask what energy is, he will simply say, energy is. Or you can go across the street. You will see that there are only 2 sources of reference to find out anything about yourself: science and theology. If you go to the scientist and ask what energy is, he will say that energy is. If you go to the theologian and ask what is God, he will simply say that God is and cannot tell you more than that. God is neither created nor destroyed. It is cause and effect in itself. It is 100% present everywhere at the same time. The same with energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is cause and effect in itself. It is 100% present everywhere at the same time. You will see that for many years, it was believed that science and religion were antagonists. But in reality, they are not. They are compatible. One study focuses on the cause and the other on the effect. I studied this daily for more than 50 years. 55 years is a long time. And one day I was talking to my daughter about it and told her, I started studying this before you were born. And she said, Bob, you started studying this before I was born and my mother? All physical and mental science is based on this great law, with its 7 subsidiary laws operating in coordination with each other. The law of vibration is the law that serves as the foundation for the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction is something that interests all of us. There are all kinds of people writing books about it and talking about it, and most of them don't really understand it deeply. The law of attraction is the law of the universe. You will attract to yourself the things with which you are in harmonious vibration. Tune in 1010 on your dial in Toronto. On the radio, you will get a radio station. It is the talk station called CFB. It is the only station you can get on that frequency. Now, if you turn the dial, what you are doing is moving away from that frequency, and the only thing you will get are the things that are on the frequency you tuned into. Well, the only thing you can get are things that are in harmonious vibration with the frequency you are operating on. Now, you have a wonderful brain. Your brain is not the mind. The brain is a manifestation of the mind. It is the same as the rest of the body. Your ears, your eyes have different purposes. However, the brain is the electronic switching station, and with your mind, you have the ability to activate certain brain cells. And when you do that, you change the vibration they are in. Everything in the universe is constantly vibrating. Your brain is always moving. Your body is always moving. It never stops moving. We are in an ocean of motion, in an ocean of constant motion. The brain is the electronic instrument that activates certain brain areas or brain cells. This causes the body to move at different speeds. You have the ability to change the vibration you are in. When I first picked up this book, Think and Grow Rich, I wasn't in a good vibration. In a relatively short period of time, I changed the vibration I was in. I went from always being in debt to having money in the bank. Now, how did that happen? It happened because I changed the vibration I was in. How did I change the vibration? By following strict rules, by following the advice of someone who had a lot of money in the bank. If you want to be successful, talk to someone who is doing what you want to achieve. Talk to someone who is doing what you want to do. And when you do that, everything will change. That's how it works. Now, number one, the law of perpetual transmutation. We are on page 19 of the notebook we just sent you. I'm going to address the 7 great laws. The law of perpetual transmutation means that energy is always changing form. We're going to get into all of that in these laws, the law of relativity. Everything is relative. This room I'm in is neither big nor small until I compare it to something else. If I compare it to the control room or where Joshua is working, then this room is big. If I compare it to the bathroom, this room is big. If I compare it to the Marriott Hotel ballroom near the airport, you would say it is very small. The law of vibration, this is the one that decrees that everything is in motion, nothing rests. Now think about it, everything is in motion. This table I'm sitting at is made of wood. We call it wood because of the speed at which energy is vibrating. The same energy we call paper used to be called wood, and before it was called wood, it was called earth. Agronomists could tell you a lot about earth, so the earth became a tree. We changed the vibratory rate of the energy we call wood or tree and turned it into paper. Then we wrote on it and put a cover on it. We called it a book. Everything is energy. It's the same energy. All we do is make it move at different speeds. So if you want to change your life, you need to change the vibration. So we have the law of polarity. This law states that everything has an opposite. There is an inside and an outside. Well, I can tell just by the speed it is moving. What I am moving is the law of polarity. It states that everything is both evil and good, and yet nothing is neither evil nor good. That's where we go back to the first law. Energy is energy. God is energy. Now you have to take then the expression of that energy, and then it is your perception that makes it good or bad. You see, what one person perceives as bad, another person perceives as good. We, here at the company, support the mission of building schools in Africa and in San Diego. We made the decision some time ago that we would use the money we made in this company to build schools in Africa, and we have built many schools in Africa. Now, we send someone there every year. I believe this year Pixie and Spencer are going there. Spencer is going to make some good videos. Last year, my daughter-in-law went, and the year before, Corey and his 15-year-old daughter went, and before that it was Sandy, but Sai's daughter came back and was impressed with how excited the kids were. Her peers, that they could get up and go to school at 5 in the morning. Tell a kid here about getting up and going to school at 5 in the morning and say, "You must be kidding. I'm not going to school at 5 in the morning." They would see it as something terrible. In Kenya, where we are building these schools, they are excited about it and stay there until 8 at night. The fact that they can learn is huge for them. So you see that what is bad for one person is good for another person. It is a matter of perception. I like how our old friend Noah Saint John used to say, he says that when you change the way you see something, what you see changes. Perception is a mental faculty. So we have the law of rhythm. Well, it is a flow of ups and downs. The law of rhythm affects everything. Every change of the seasons, day and night, the tide comes in and goes out. You see that the law of rhythm impacts everything. You won't always be on a high. You will go into a low. When you go into a low, you know you will go back to a high. That's the flow of life. You won't always feel like $1 million all the time. Sometimes you may feel like 900,000, but you will go back up. That's how energy flows. In a rhythm, a rhythmic pattern. Then we have the law of cause and effect. Now this is what Emerson said was the law of laws, the law of cause and effect. This law simply states that what you put out comes back to you. I had something here, I'm going to get it. It's here. Let me see. It's quite interesting. If we can take a look at it here now, you see the 5 balls there? Maybe we'll switch to this camera. I think we'll get a better capture of it. Well, we switch to the camera here now. See, if I drop one of these, 1 comes back. If I drop 2, 2 come back. Now look, there are 5 of them. Suppose I drop 3. Well, I only drop 2. No, if I drop 3, I get 3 back. Now if I drop 4, I get 4 back. You see, it's allowing the energy to go out and come back. It's equal and opposite. You get back what you put in, okay? Now, if we go back to the tripod here, Joshua, the law of cause and effect. If you're not happy with what you're getting, you better focus on what you're giving, okay? Now let's go board here for a moment. Here it is. We'll say this represents the results you're getting right now. So you're at this frequency and we'll say this is where I want to go. Now you'll get there as sure as it gets dark tonight if you follow the law, but you must follow the law if you want to keep moving in an upward direction. That means you want to get more, you want to receive more, so you have to give more. I don't think there's anything complicated about that. Most people are saying, give me the heat and then I'll put the wood in. It doesn't work that way. If you want the heat, you have to put the wood in, and you have to put the wood in first. Now, to keep moving in the direction of your dream, this is the frequency you want to reach. You have to keep following the law. You have to work with the law, and if you break the law, you just won't win. You just won't win. It's that simple, okay? Now, we say that the best definition of natural law seems to be the uniform and orderly method of the omnipotent God. The laws are not made by man, so they will not be changed by man. Think about that. The laws are not made by man, so they will not be changed by men. The law is the law, and the law never changes. Now look here. We're around line 25 or something. Unlike other forms of animal life that were created, we were granted the power of choice or free will. Along with that power came certain responsibilities. The ability to choose does not imply freedom from the consequences of our choice. The laws are the ones that govern man, that govern each individual, and that we cover to some degree in this lesson, are as precise as the laws that govern the material universe. For example, if I drop this, it will fall. This is governed by the material universe. This is called the law of gravity. Gravity is the law of the world. It is a law of this ball we are on. Well, there are laws that go beyond this world. They are universal laws, and they are the same everywhere. You cannot defy them. We say that unlike any other form of animal life that has been created, we were given, when we were created, we were given the power of choice, free will. Well, how do the other little creatures operate? They operate by instinct, which is perfect. If Mickey has a fairly new puppy, a couple of months old, Frank, if she left Frank on his own, let him fend for himself, Frank would die. He would starve to death. He would just lie there and die. He doesn't have the ability to think. He can't think yet. His conscious faculties are not developed. He couldn't go get food for himself. He would just lie there and die. Now, if a mother squirrel gave birth to a little squirrel here in the backyard, what would they do? They would wake up and run to get food immediately. When you see a new foal, a new horse, as soon as the horse is born, it is a little shaky, but it gets up and runs away. They operate by instinct, and instinct is perfect. We operate with higher faculties. Intuition is one of them. Perception, reason, all these are higher faculties. Unlike any other form of animal life, when we were created, we were given the power of choice, free will. Now, with this power came certain responsibilities. The ability to choose does not imply freedom from the consequences of our choice. Someone said they didn't understand that. It's difficult. You lose. There is absolutely no indulgence, fragments, you lose. Until I was 26 years old before I read Think and Grow Rich. And then all these other books and what I am studying, The Science of Getting Rich. Until then, I was losing. I was losing at every corner I turned. Nothing good happened. It just got worse. And then, something like that, everything started to change. I was 26 years old and I went from struggling, really struggling to get a few dollars to buy gas, to multiplying my earnings by more than, I went from 4,000 to 175,000. Now let's look at that for a moment. I'm going to get my trusty calculator. 175,000 divided by 4,000. It was multiplied by 43.75. I was making almost 44 times more in a year. That fast, what did I do? What did I do that caused such a drastic change? I went from violating the law to living in harmony with the law. I went from trying to survive to focusing on providing more service, better service. You don't have to be particularly smart to make this work. You just have to be aware. You need to be aware that there are laws and you must study these laws. Well, I hope you found this video amazing and helpful. Here's a video of value to you. Remember, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our videos.